All right, shalom, shalom. First of all, giving all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Kakadash. Coming to the family with another breakdown of the scriptures. This is your brother Yahya, and I'm going to be going over some precepts here. And basically, this lesson is going to be called "In the Flesh," which our big brother Yahweh Shai came down, was in the flesh, and this is something that we already know, but I just maybe want to emphasize on a few things, so I hope it's edifying, okay? But so yeah, our big brother Yahweh Shah, he came in the flesh, okay? And he paid it all with his life being in the flesh, okay? Because he had to do that. He had to come down. He had to pay for the things that he also done as being Solomon, okay? And so because he was responsible for the northern and southern kingdom going off. But we already know that. But just I wanted to read some precepts here. I'm going to go Hebrews 2:14, and it reads, "For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power over death, that is the devil." Okay, reading on. And 15, "And deliver them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage." See, because the fear of death was bondage to us. Okay, the fear of death, and so Yahweh Shah had to come down here in the flesh to be like us, to feel pain like us, to feel hunger like us, to feel desires like us, okay? He had to go through all of those things in this flesh to show us that we are able to conquer death. We're able to conquer these things through our faith and trust in him and in our Father Yahweh, okay? And so, but he had to show and prove that, okay? He had to show and prove it, which he did, right? Hebrews 2:16, "For verily he took not on him the nature of angels." See, he didn't come down here in his body, that his heavenly body. Okay? And so he had to separate himself from Yahweh. He had to separate himself, which he did, okay? And he took on the form of this terrestrial body, okay? And he left the celestial body to come down here for us, which we already know that. Hebrews 2:16, "For verily he took on him the nature of, for verily, Salakia, he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham," right? The seed of Abraham. "Wherefore in all things it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in the things pertaining to power, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people." Okay? So he had to reunite, okay? Reunion. Reconciliation means to reunite, okay? And that's how we know that we are the people. He had to reunite us back through the shedding of his blood. That was the only way to do it. And he had to do it in the flesh. He couldn't do it in the celestial body. He had to do it in the terrestrial body, so that we would know and we would have an example, a perfect example of how to live our lives in this flesh. Okay? That was a purpose for that. And to reunite us, like how you have a family reunion? It's a reunion and bringing us all back, grafting us back, bringing us back in, because we are those branches, right? As the scriptures talk about. The branches that fell off, that's us, okay? Because of our disobedience, of course. And so he had to, through his blood, he had to bring us back into the fold, back, okay? Hebrews 12 and 18. I mean, so like Hebrews 2 and 18. For in that he himself hath suffered being tempted, right? Like I said, he is able to secure them that are tempted. Okay? Secure meaning assistance and support. Okay? In times of hardship and distress. Okay? So he had to secure us. He had to, because we were dead. We without his blood, without him coming back down, without him coming down here as Yahweh Shai, we were lost. We were done. Okay? So he had to do it. He had to secure us, right? From our hardships, from our distress, from this flesh, this fleshly mind thinking, right? This carnal mind thinking, and being scared and being fearful of death. When he's saying he's going to conquer death, and he conquered it for us through the blood, through the shedding of his blood on that cross. All right, and so it's important that I feel like this lesson. It's important to understand that and think about these things every day of what he went through for us. Okay. And put that in your prayers every day and be thankful for that. That's what we should do. All this he did to bring us back into the fold. Okay. Because we are the branches, like I said, who fell off and needed to be brought back. Okay. And the precept to that is John chapter 15. Y'all can read that. And so our big brother, our master, went through hell in this flesh. So if he can do it, we must do it. You know what I'm saying? We got to do it. We got to continue to press forward and persevere in this flesh as he did. Okay. And let me get a precept. We got I got Mark 15 and 34, and it reads, at that the ninth hour Yahweh Shai cried with a loud voice, saying, Elo, Elo, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my power, why hast thou forsaken me? And so Yahweh Shai was begging the Most High, Yahweh. And he was saying, that why have you forsaken me? Because Yahweh Shai knew what he had to go through on that cross. He had to be beaten. He was stabbed. He had the thorns on his head. He was stoned. He had to go through all that in this flesh. He had to go through all of that in this flesh, man. And he did it. He did it humbly. And it was times he was weak. This is a weak part. This is a weak part in him. I mean, but think about it. He had to do it in this flesh. And that's one thing I think, I'm not saying we don't understand it, but we need to dwell upon that often. That he did it in the flesh. This flesh is weak. Okay? This flesh is weak. All right? And remember, the angels came and ministered unto Yahweh Shai to give him strength, to give him courage, to uplift him, to build him up in his times of distress and sorrow, because he knew what he had to go through, but he also needed some help. And those angels provided that for him, right? They gave him that security. They gave him that pep talk, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're almost done. You're almost done. You got it. You got this. You know what I'm saying? And so we got to remember that when we are, in distress, or we're having hard times, or we're going through some rough things in this flesh, who do we depend on? That's Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Bashem Mashiach, Yahweh Shai. You know? And we have to call upon his name, not just in distress, but every day. Because we are in this flesh, because we are in a weak state. We don't have our celestial bodies yet. That's what we're waiting on. So for the time being, this is what we have to do daily. And remember that Yahweh Shai had to do it. Our big brother being our example of how we should be. Okay? Let's see here. Precept. Let me get Matthew 4:11. Our big brother needed that. Yeah, he needed that pep talk. I wrote that down here because I didn't want to forget that. We should remind ourselves each day, what our big brother, our king, went through for us, man. And put that in your prayers, man. Meditate on that. That reconciliation, reuniting us, the reunion of the 144,000 and the 1/3 through the shedding of his blood. That's the reunion. That's the family reunion right there. And so we need to be just thankful. You know what I'm saying? Like, be thankful each and every day for that. Let me get a precept here. Matthew 20:28. Even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. So this also puts a dent in the Christian doctrine and the Baptists and whoever else, all these doctrines, okay? Why Yahushua came. He said to give his life or ransom for many, not for all people, for many. All right. And that many is us. It's only for us. It's the redeemed. Okay. And think about it. A ransom. So if like someone gets kidnapped, right? And somebody's like, all right, well, the ransom, if you want them back, then the ransom is whatever it is, $1 million. And so the person gets that money, gives it to the person that's in power so they can get their loved one back. Okay? So think about it this way. Yahushua he was the ransom, right? The shedding of his blood. So where does that go? Who gets that? Because that has to go to somebody. Okay? That ransom goes back to the one in power. Right? The ransom does. And who's in power? It's Yahweh. He's in control of all things, right? Our big brother's blood was a payment to the Father. Because he requires that which is past, right? From what he did when he was King Solomon. That was that's the ransom. That's he had to do that. He had to do it. That's why the scripture says, roughly paraphrasing, it pleased him to bruise him, because the Most High requires that which is past, right? Ecclesiasticus 3:15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and power requireth that which is past. So Yahushua had to go through that. He had to do it. And he did it humbly. He came here as a lamb, but we all know when he comes back, he's coming back as the lion. All right? And that's who we wait upon, is our master, our big brother, our king, you know what I mean? And so, but I just wanted to emphasize this lesson on the flesh, because this flesh is weak, okay? Let me get one more precept here. Matthew 26:41. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Right? I'm going to read that again. Matthew 26:41. Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. So we know what our duties are. We know that this law of liberty is what we follow. We know, we call upon the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We know who we are as our nationality, you know. We know that we are the true Hebrew Israelites. The Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, Haitians, you know. We know who we are. And the spirit of those who are in this truth, the spirit, we follow the spirit. But this flesh is still weak. This flesh is weak. And so we got to know who to depend on all the time and daily, and that's Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. All right. And so our example is Yahushua. And yes, there's other examples, but he's our perfect and number one example. And yes, we have Job, and yes, we have a few others, the apostles, you know what I'm saying? Paul and other all the apostles, you know what I mean? They went through hell in this flesh for this truth. Okay? But we know our perfect example is Yahushua. But understanding that this flesh is weak, that we need help, we need assistance. And that's the brotherly love, and that's calling upon the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua when we are in distress, when we are down, when things are not going as planned, which it shouldn't go as planned because we are still in bondage. We are still in captivity. So we got to expect these things. You got to expect hardship, and we have to take it humbly, okay, as Yahushua did. And so that's pretty much all I have right now for these precepts. And I hope it is edifying. I hope it was edifying to the body. And, just remember to pray, continue to pray, and pray for the brotherhood, and study to show ourselves approved. And take care of yourself, take care of yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically, in all ways, as we wait upon our master, our big brother, as we wait upon that spiritual power. So hope y'all have a great day. Till next time, I say shalom.